I'm like super fascinated by neurotransmitters right now. And so I wanted to go back and look at like, when does the dopamine system come in? When does the serotonin system come in? So check this out. This is everybody's getting a little behind the scenes of how you and I chat with each other. But GABA, the calming neurotransmitter, is actually formulated in the womb. So that whole system actually comes in the womb, and you start to get the development based off of mom's GABA system.
Well, that explains a lot, because my mom is such a warrior.
And check this out. So the two precursors for GABA at that time are glycine and glutamine. They help make GABA. So if mom's deficient in GABA, that in those two things, she'll be deficient in GABA. She's a warrior, so she's using a lot of GABA. You're in the womb and your GABA system is developing. Guess what 2 amino acids are missing in your most recent test?
Those.
Yep. Yes. I almost sent you a message today and was like, oh my God, another puzzle piece. Like, I don't think you've had enough to make GABA from the beginning, which I know that, anxiety has been a pretty common experience for you. But
if I really think about my anxiety, like, between like I would have reoccurring nightmares as a child, like I never, I slept with my mom until I was 11 because I couldn't, like, I was afraid people were going to come get me in the middle of the night. Like I had a real, I have no GABA.
Right. You had no GABA. Yeah. And then check this out. So from like 0 to 13, your nervous system that is being developed is the sympathetic nervous system. It's not until you actually go through puberty that the parasympathetic starts to kick in.
Oh, well, then I was screwed.
Yeah, a little bit. Like if you think about like you were in this surreal environment with all these adults swirling around you, I can only imagine like what was going through their head, and all the ways that they wanted to see you as a human, your career at this young age. But you had no GABA. Your dopamine comes in usually from about 8 and under. We have the most amount of dopamine and serotonin, and then it slowly depletes after that. So I also wonder if your serotonin and dopamine system were already getting drained. I mean, you and I have talked about this, like winning a Grammy had to be like a massive dopamine rush. And then after that had to be kind of sucky. I don't know. Can you remember how you felt a couple days afterwards?
I don't at that point, but it's funny because I just released my new album, and as soon as midnight struck and the album was out, I could already feel the come down.
Oh.
So and I remember we went to dinner that night, and I was like, we went back to the room, and I looked at Eddie and I was like, I hate this feeling, because it's hard, because it's joyous. I'm so happy it's out there. But then the feeling of the come down, and it happens every time I go on stage.
Yeah.
There's a come down after, and it's like a crash, and it feels drug induced.
Yeah.
And it's not. And it's just, but it feels like it's drug induced. And there's always this come down and this crash. And then, I wake up the next morning and have to like try to get myself revved up again. And I just experienced that hardcore crash from such a big, like, defining moment for me. And I can only imagine, like, think about how many of those I've been through in my life. I mean, luckily there's been many, but it's a constant roller coaster.
Yeah. I mean, when I've thought about this a lot, that your nervous system is chemically addicted to this life that was created for you. And so as you are taking back your life and being like, this is the way I'm going to live it, then there's a taking back of those chemicals as well. And what you and I have talked a lot about.
And then I don't create them at this moment, or I'm creating less of them.
Or you're creating less of them. But it's like, dopamine's like anything else that we're addicted to. It's like, in order to get off the addiction, there has to be a little bit of a letdown. And yet navigating what does that letdown look like, I think has been really is interesting for all of us, but especially for someone like you who has had these so many dopamine rich moments, that how at 40 years old do you just sit on the couch because there's no dopamine on the couch?
Can my couch for me? I was just thinking, we're talking about this. I'm like, can couch time become a piece of like my dopamine hit? I haven't had it.
Maybe if you bring chocolate to the couch.
Oh, totally bring chocolate to the couch.
No, I love where you're going with this.